Hello and welcome back to Tay Radio Marin. I'm your host, Sammy, and I'm here with
Briza, and I'm from San Rafael High School.
Avani, I'm from San Rafael High School.
And I'm Emmerson, and I'm from Novato High.
Great. So we're going to start off with a quick icebreaker question. What is your favorite social media trend that happened in the last 2 years, you would say? Mine, personally, I feel like was kind of like the clean girl era. I feel like that kind of transformed a lot of fashion movements into something different, more creative. But that's definitely, I feel like, my favorite because I kind of like resonate with clean girl a little bit. So yeah, that's my favorite like trend that happened at social media currently.
For me, well, it's kind of random, but I don't know if you noticed, like, every first of the month, and then they put like cows dancing. And
Yes.
I like that. I think it's pretty.
I don't participate in them because I get too lazy, but I love seeing people's like photo dumps like on Instagram. Like, I feel like that's not really a trend. People still do it, but it's still cool to see.
I honestly have no idea. Like, I'm not that active, but I've never heard of this cows thing, and now I'm like curious.
It's like brain rot. It's just
silly.
like it's like AI cows. Oh, is it the cows running?
Yeah, it's from like, wasn't it from that show? Not show, like cartoon. It was like from a cartoon. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen those before, like the dancing raccoons, chocolate strawberry. Like, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I feel like all forms of it is just very short-term content that gets, people's attention quickly. So that also leads into my second question. Do you think short-form content like TikToks, Reels has made people's attention span shorter, or has it just changed the way we take in information?
It's definitely made people's attention span shorter. I think the more that you use it, the more difficult it is for you to like pay more attention to something. For me, it doesn't really like affect me because I do a lot of things that like force me to like actually pay attention. But there are some cases where I do see that I struggle more. So I do definitely need to work on my like the amount of social media time I use, but there's a change. There's a noticeable change. Since when you see like from generations, it feels like people are starting to like pay less attention. I see that also on a lot of my like people from my class, right? So yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, I so agree. Like, I just feel like, I'm sorry, the attention span is just definitely like shortened a lot, and I just think it's due to like the hyperfixation of like a lot of quick videos, like, and the adrenaline rush we get for the 15-second videos that are on these platforms, and I think that definitely has weakened our attention span. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I think like overall for people in general, it's really bad, especially for our generation. And I'm not like super active on social media, but like I have Instagram. I don't have a personal account really. I just kind of like scroll for fun, like not people I know, but it definitely like my attention span, it gives you that hit of dopamine like you were saying. And I've noticed that like I'm someone who, if there's something that interests me, I can go really far in and like get really into it, but like I kind of need it to grab me now more like then, and then I can go all the way in. Like I really like listening to podcasts, and like every time I try to find a new podcast, even if it's like a topic that sounds interesting, like it sounds so silly, but like if it's in the first 2 minutes, if I don't like the way that they're either their voice or just like the words they're using, I'm like, nope, skip it. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, I get that. How about you, Avani?
I agree. I think it's like instant gratification, right? I feel like social media made us kind of just like want us to be happy really instantly, right? Like when we're going on social media and stuff. And I especially like saw it in myself during the summer because I feel like, school wasn't really happening. I had less things going on. So then sometimes I would just be like doom scrolling for so long and I would lose track of time. And like, I definitely felt like my brain wasn't working properly during the summer. Like my attention span was so cooked.
Yeah.
Real.
I mean, for me, like when I scroll my phone, it just like, it's great, right? I feel relaxed. And then I start thinking about the work and the stuff I have to do. And, I start getting stressed out. So now I doom scroll because I'm anxious. And I feel like that happens to a lot of teens these days. So what are your guys' like kind of thoughts on like how social media or just, the phone and technology plays with anxiety.
There's a lot of bad things going on because there's first the risks of like bullying online, right? It's become so normal to like just post random people online. That shouldn't happen because like people like even becoming a meme, like that can like actually like harm a person so much. Like some people think it's a joke, but like in reality, like like that's somebody that's alive, and and like seeing like all those memes of them and stuff like that, right? Another thing that I have to agree with you, Sammy. One thing for me that happens is that I'm like super tired, right? Because I tend to like I scroll like 30 minutes online or like just rest for 30 minutes after school. And then I tend to go ahead and do my homework. Clean my room, do my homework, eat, take a shower, whatever I need to do, right? But then I'm super tired and I have a good amount of time to sleep, but I grab my phone again. And then when I realize it's already like 11 p.m. and then I wake up like at 7 or something, and I like end up regretting it so much, but it keeps on happening and happening and happening.
Yeah.
With me.
So normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that honestly, like anxiety, yes, it correlates with that. I also think that art, like for example, like music, type of fashion styles that you enjoy is heavily influenced by social media. What type of like songs have become like popular or like different because of the use of social media promoting these songs basically. What do you think, Emmerson?
For that specific question, I mean, there's definitely songs I'm like, oh, that's a TikTok song. But just backing up what you were saying about like art and being influenced, I think that's a really interesting point where like algorithms in general, the idea is that algorithms cater to like what you want to see, right? But I feel like at some point we humans are really influenced by the algorithm, and almost like what they want to see is now being controlled by the algorithm. And I think that's just really interesting to think about. And like, yeah, it's just like, how much is it like the algorithm is tailoring to you, and how much are you tailoring to the algorithm?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great point. I feel like the algorithm plays a lot into it. I also think the algorithm also feeds unnecessary information. I mean, yes, it comes with art and fun videos, but also comes with maybe like body issues and all these other things. Like this topic was supposed to be like light, and now we're getting into like so much deeper things about social media. But I mean, I think that the algorithm, yes, it caters to your taste, but then it adds these little snippets of some negative or just condescending things that are just not really like positive. And I think it really changes the perception of how teens view themselves and view their identity. And I think a lot of times, a lot of teens are lost. They don't really know what they want because of how much they're being influenced by these, snippets of videos that are in their algorithm daily.
That's right.
I feel like that's how social media is also kind of like toxic, because it's literally in how the algorithm works. Like if you're on a specific side of like TikTok or Instagram and you keep getting reels about like body image stuff, right? You're bound to get more if you keep scrolling. Like that's just because they know that's how to keep you engaged. And you're just kind of stuck in that mindset for like weeks on end and you're just considering comparing yourself to what other people look like, even if you're not really specifically on like that side of social media. Like, I feel like a lot of social media is like self-comparison, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that like the view of like body, like dysmorphia is, some people think like girls that don't fit like the normal skinny standard have a lot of, body issues. And in reality, it's everyone. Even skinny people have body issues. Even quote unquote, like skinny people have like body issues. And like, I think that's a little bit like, people don't really talk about that a lot. Like, I mean, I think people talk about what the stereotype is, and if people don't fit that stereotype, those groups of people have body issues. But in that case, that could be wrong too. And I think people don't really focus on the fact that maybe people within that standard have body issues as well. And I think that social media does play a lot of downplay on that topic. And obviously algorithm, I think, plays a big role in that. Now, the younger generation is now exposed to all these different types of information, and brain rot or stuff like that has come up a lot of the time. What are your guys' thoughts on that? How does that influence a person's character today, a child's character today?
Wait, could we like backtrack a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit?
No, of course. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that social media goes more beyond than just body image. Like it compares more than like body image.
Yeah.
Because like everybody said, there's like art, right? Music and all that. It compares talent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Like for example, like on studying and stuff like that, I see so many girls that are like, oh, I studied for like 5 hours, 7 hours or something like that,
Oh my
right?
God, yeah.
And I struggle to study 2 hours like without like
Yeah.
stopping, right? Oh, so it's like there's more comparison than just like the body or the face, which I will say that is the biggest comparison there is.
Mhm.
But there is a lot on like, I am doing better than you, you know?
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
totally agree. Like, have you guys seen the videos of like people getting accepted into Harvard?
Oh my God,
Princeton,
don't
like,
even get
the decision
started,
videos of like the
bro.
girls that like, or the guys, everyone that's like basically locked in for the like last 4 years of high school and they get into their dream school. It makes me feel horrible. It makes me feel like I'm not doing enough. And I think that just kind of like discredits like the amount of time I've spent on my work, my academics, how highly like I have pride in like my work. And I think that kind of like disregards all that stuff. So I completely agree, Briza. Like that is definitely like something that I feel like social media does compete. It's like talent.
Yeah.
Not only does it compare, but I feel like it sets false standards because we have to remember that like what happens in social media, like people only show you what they want you to see. It's not like actually like their whole life, or like for mukbangs, right? Like some people just spit out. Is that how you say it? I don't know how to say it. Spit out the food, right? Like they don't, like they're not actually like eating enormous amounts of food. And if they are, that's not healthy, So there's like, they can edit videos. Like they're showing you things that are not even like fully real, and they don't show you like what happens behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And especially in the age of AI, that is more true than ever before. You can't believe anything you see, which is terrifying. But circling back just to the idea about like you were talking about body image and just any kind of personal comparison, I think what's important to remember, again, with the algorithm is that it is easy to think of the algorithm as something that's trying to like give you content that you like because then it'll keep you scrolling. But the way the human brain works is that you spend way more time on negative emotions. Like the human brain is primed to remember, focus on negative things. So you might see something you like and just hit the little heart and move on. If you see something negative that gets in your head, you're thinking about it. You're going down that rabbit hole. You're spending more time engaged with the content. So in a lot of ways, social media and the algorithm, their goal is to find what upsets you and exploit that.
For sure. And like just adding on to that, I think that because we focus on so many negative things about ourselves, it's mainly because we spend so much time with ourselves. We know who we are. We know our good and bad. We know everything about ourselves. So we know the goods and bads about us physically and like internally as well. And so when social media starts to show all these negative videos, you think about it more because that's what you're focusing on. Since you already know you're good, you're focusing more on the bad. And that's where insecurities come, right? I mean, people really should not be insecure. You're born with these beautiful, like internally and physical features that, no one has. And I think that the fact that social media just like kind of shows girls that like, or guys that look a certain way, it really does like downplay a lot of a lot of teens like confidence. And I think that it's because we spend too much time or we have spent a lot of time with ourselves our whole lives. So I think that's the main reason why. I guess we can talk about, like I mentioned this topic a little earlier on about brain rot and how that affects child development. Do you guys want to touch base on that?
Yeah, I'm really scared for Gen Alpha, like kind of scared of them, very scared for them, because I think that I've seen the way in our generation, like starting to grow up, With, social media technology and the way that it is. And then like, for me, COVID hit in 6th grade. So like middle school is a huge point of development. And I've just kind of seen the way that that has impacted my peers. But then the generation that's younger than us, it's like they have really, really grown up online. And especially so because they were even younger when COVID hit and they were just like on social media from day one. And it's just kind of, I think that's scary because there's not like an outside world. And I also feel like like I was saying, I've seen my peers where my mom has been very kind of like kept me off of social media. Like I did not have an Instagram account until 11th grade. And I don't have a personal account because I just don't want one. Like I don't really use my personal account at all or follow people I know. But like, so I've really been able to kind of see from a peripheral vision the way that people interact with social media because I'm not really on it and it's scary. And I think it's, like I said, really scary for the generation following us.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a completely different perspective because like I wish that I didn't get a phone as early as I did. Like I remember like I had an iPad, a phone with me at all times, and I feel like I kind of like grew up on the internet, and that's not even a flex to say because like as a child you're like exposed to all corners of the internet, which you shouldn't really be seeing at a young age, right? It's like dangerous things that you're looking at. But I also had a question: how are we defining brain rot? Because like which type are we talking about? Because I feel like when I grew up on the side of social media where it's sort of like self-comparison and things like that. But nowadays I'm kind of seeing like a weird shift where like I just open Instagram and it's just like dancing like AI cat videos. We could talk about the AI thing, you know what I mean? But like just like seeing that I feel like is kind of refreshing to me sometimes because I feel like the other side of social media is just like so like horrible, right? But there's also the other type of brain rot with like Gen Alpha or X, you know what I mean? With like 6, 7, you know what I mean? Like that's like a, I don't know.
I think I get what you're saying, and I love those videos. They make me laugh all the time. I think the primary issue is that when people interact with each other, especially children, they're like, "Oh, do you know the 6-7 meme?" Or "Oh, do you know like like tongue to her meme?" Like it's just stuff like that. It's just like they can't actually there's no actual like creativity when coming up with jokes or trying to make people laugh or even conversation. It's just all about those videos shown online, which yes, they are entertaining, but why are they the main focus of your conversation? That's something that concerns me a little bit. I mean, before like I could make like really funny jokes, but I feel like now like with children like constantly online, the use of humor isn't needed anymore because you already found that like in AI and like in videos and social media. And that's why I completely agree. I was exposed to the phone, the iPad way too young. I wish I like kept my innocence a little bit. I wish my parents were like, no, you can't have a phone till like 7th grade, something like that. I got my phone in 5th grade, which is super young. I don't ever recommend that, but I do agree. I regret the fact that like I have a phone for like literally all my life basically. So I think that that's definitely like a concern that is like speculating online. I think that's a concern that like children these days are dealing with. So yeah. Let's see. What is one online trend that started off funny or creative but quickly turned into cringe or problematic and are used by teachers because they kind of ruined the whole thing? Like, what is a trend that like you would say is kind of just cringe?
I haven't noticed any.
You haven't noticed any?
I have a couple different answers.
Ooh, okay, share.
In terms of like the teacher thing, going back to the 6-7, I mean, for the same reason that's driving me crazy. Like you were saying about the humor, like the amount of times it's 24/7. I've asked 5 people at least, like, no, but what's funny about it? And they're just like, it just is. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Like, there should be a reason that you're laughing. You should know why you're laughing. You know what I mean? Anyways, but for Halloween, 2 teachers in my school, like, they happen to be a married couple, and one of them was like dressed up as a 6 and the other one dressed up as a 7. I don't know. But I was just like, oh God.
No.
And just like I've literally heard it everywhere, from literal teachers to like being in a store. I heard like some little girl saying it who was like a child, and I was like, do you know why you're laughing? Because I don't think you do. Anyways, that's a personal thing. But in terms of like problematic trends, the whole like ice bucket challenge, I think it was called, where it was like quote unquote for like mental health awareness, which like in theory is a really good idea. But there's a huge caveat. There's two huge caveats where, first of all, that trend had come around before for, I think it was ALS. I don't know, some like completely different medical thing. And it did work really well for raising awareness, but they're just recycling it and saying now it's for mental health. And second of all, besides that, it really was not, there was zero focus on like mental health support. It was only about like just the excuse to do this thing. And it was just like turned into more and more of an aside. And then like in the biggest twist of irony, I saw people being like kind of bullied because they were like nominated for the trend and didn't want to have ice water dumped on them. And then they're like being bullied like, oh, you don't care about mental health. It's like, that is the exact opposite of what you're supposedly preaching.
Yeah.
So things like that really did not rub me the right way.
No, I agree. I mean, how about you two? What do you guys think?
Okay, I feel like humor is like pretty subjective, right? So we're all gonna laugh at different things. But I feel like this whole thing of like, for example, like 6-7 or even the ice bucket challenge thing you mentioned, it's like I feel like people are doing it for the sake of doing it because other people are doing it, right? Like I feel like no one is really laughing for themselves. Like even as dumb and maybe little funny 6-7 might be, like no one's really laughing because I doubt like most people even know like where it came from, right? Like they're laughing because they're seeing other people are laughing, right? Ice bucket challenge, like you wouldn't see just one person doing it on their own. Like it's because so many other people are doing it. And I think this is all kind of coming back to like fitting into like society's like standards. Like you're just trying to fit in, right? And I feel like especially these kids, right, who are so influenced by like this content, like they want to, this is like their social, what's it called? Like development, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that also kind of plays a role in it, you know? And it's kind of sad to see that. Like we could have actual conversations, but it's just, you know what I mean?
Wait, could I like say something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I see like both perspectives. Oh, the same perspective technically, right? But
Yeah.
for the whole like brain rot and everything, I see why it's like harmful in a way, but I also see why it's still going on. Cause yes, like some kids may not be able to like, well, it's more difficult. Let me say it. It's more difficult to have a proper conversation with someone without them making like a brain rot like thing, right? But we've also noticed that it makes it easier for some people to connect in some way. Like it makes it easier to make friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 'cause
And
there's something in common.
yeah. And as somebody who struggled a lot with like talking with people, I feel like in a way it did make me a little bit more comfortable, like seeing that there were so many people that like started to get more outspoken and all that, right? And while it can be cringe, like the whole 6-7 thing or all that, and personally I don't see anything funny with it, but like at the end of the day, it's like if it like helps people connect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really appreciate that perspective.
No, I really like that perspective. Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, it's still like kids more, okay. I'll say this though. I feel like parents and themselves are not doing enough to help their kids when it comes to talking and all that. Because parents should not be giving their kids a cell phone at such a young age. I like grew up in Mexico. I came here till I was 9. I did not have a cell phone. And the one time I did get one because my mom came to the US, I did not use it because I had friends, like, and by friends I mean my cousins. I didn't actually have friends. But I was able to go outside. We are in a city right now.
Yeah.
Not everybody can go outside. Not everybody can go climbing trees because it's not the same as it was before. And people are just, kids more specifically, are just trying to connect, but they can't connect the same way as before because obviously a kid's not going to go running like right now because there's roads, there's barely any parks now. So they need another way to connect, and unfortunately, well, brain rot was the way.
That's super insightful, honestly. Like, I kind of had that in the back of my head, but you really said it. And I love it. I love all this perspective right now. These perspectives, sorry. And this has got me thinking, like, there's this thing called pretty girl humor, if you guys have heard of it. What are your thoughts about pretty girl humor? I feel like that kind of also falls into, like, comparison of physical looks. I mean, like, how do you guys describe pretty girl humor? Or what are your thoughts on it?
I heard the phrase, but I don't really know what it means. So honestly, if we could have a little crash course
Yeah.
lesson, I'd appreciate
Of course. So pretty girl humor is basically when a girl is in this generation right now considered pretty, quote unquote, like the beauty standard, right? And their humor is cringe, a little bit of brain rot. And people say that if a quote unquote ugly person said the same thing, it wouldn't be as funny if a pretty girl said it. So pretty girl humor is kind of in a way showing like pretty privilege. It's kind of basically expanding on pretty privilege and how like if I would say like a quote unquote ugly person were to say the same thing, it wouldn't be funny. So I was saying like, what are your thoughts on that, and how does that kind of connect to the information that is being like promoted on social media today?
As someone who did not grow up like feeling or looking the best, I would say, there is definitely like a difference between like the way people treat someone that they might deem as pretty and someone that they may not deem as pretty. And I had to learn how to like get with humor and all that, right? But I will also say there is no reason for you to judge what somebody thinks it's funny or not, unless it's obviously like some like really disgusting thing, Not everybody has the same humor as like you said, right? So I feel like saying the whole pretty girl humor thing is just another way where people are trying to bash women.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean that's great insight. Do you have?
I think you said it pretty well, Briza. Also, I feel like it's just another way to divide women. Like, why are we always putting ourselves against each other? You know what I mean? Like, we're going back, if you know what I mean, by doing this. And it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when people like say, oh, like there's a term everyone uses called chopped, which is like basically when guys look at women and they don't find them attractive, they call them chopped. When I look at like when, for example, my guy friend was saying that, I was like, hey, that's like not cool at all. I don't find people like quote unquote ugly. Like I never ever see that. Like even if like someone's like bashed online, like, oh, this person is so ugly, I look at them and I don't really see ugliness. Like I think in a way like ugly isn't really like specifically defined. I don't think people actually really know like what ugly is defined as. And so when I like look at someone, woman, man, whatever, I don't really see ugly. You know what I mean? Like I always see someone's like, I was like, oh, like that's like really good about them and stuff like that. Like I don't know how else to describe it. I just like, do you know what I mean?
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Like I totally feel the same way. And I think in a way it's like you're talking about these like guys who will say stuff like that. It's like I think that they are confusing ugly with I don't find them attractive. Exactly. Because, there are people that you look at them and you're like, whoa, that's a beautiful person. And then at least for me, I will speak for myself. I'm like, every once in a while, there's someone who I'm like, whoa, that's a beautiful person. And everyone else is just like a person. And I feel like in the cases of some of these guys, it's like, whoa, that's a beautiful person or that's an ugly person. And it's like, well, no. Like most people are just people.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously I'll never know the way a guy's brain works, right? But I've like exactly what you guys are saying. I've thought this all my life. Like I feel like people are always like people are so set on like, oh yeah, there's ugly people, but like genuinely, where are they? I'm looking for them. Because like
Where?
I feel like people like I've never seen one person where I'm like, oh, like they're like objectively like ugly, you know what I mean? Because I feel like everybody has their own defining features, right? And this is such a thing. Like I feel like in social media we see like so much of the same face. Like I don't know if you guys have seen that, but like sometimes I just feel like when you walk into the real world, like you never see those same people. Like everyone is so different. Like it's so different watching like TikTok or Instagram and going through these reels and seeing like the same face. and like the beauty standard, right? And then just popping on like a Netflix show and then like seeing like what real people look like, you know what I mean? Like without filters, like with pores, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, like the whole thing with beauty and social media like goes so hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're having this conversation because like I've totally felt the exact same way you guys are talking about, and
Yeah.
not like it's not talked about that
I
like
don't think it is
ugly
because
people aren't a thing.
I think ugly is just more of like an internal thing. Like,
Personally.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be I apologize. I'm so sorry. You could be like physically like gorgeous, but like in a way, like if you are a bad person, I don't find that attractive.
Mhm.
Man, woman, whatever. I don't find that attractive. And I think that's what ugly is actually defined for. It's not a physical thing, it's an internal thing. And I think that clarifies what ugly means because I think people are confused of the definition of ugly. So
Yeah.
Well, I'll say
oh yeah.
that beauty is subjective, right? What I may find attractive might not be the same thing that Emerson might find attractive, right? Everybody has like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And for the personality thing, you're right in a way, because like, if for me at least, if you're like just the horrible person, I'm not gonna like, like even if you're beautiful like from the outside, you're still like not the greatest person, right? But the good thing is that people can change, right? Somebody could have been like super mean, let's say like growing up, but then they learned and then they changed. So what I will say about that is that beauty can always change, right? Because like it's internal, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that like ugly isn't really a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and neither is beauty, because you're not defined by standards.
Yeah.
You're defined by who you are, what you do, and what you believe on.
Yeah.
That's really
Beautifully said. I mean, back to I feel like maybe like we've touched a lot based on the physical part. Like internally, there's a big thing on social media called cancel culture. And when someone is canceled, it's usually because what they're saying online doesn't align with what people's opinions are. Do you think that we have kind of in this generation like crossed the line of canceling, or how would you put a limit to cancel culture and when canceling someone? I feel like a big one right now is celebrities or micro influencers saying the N-word or any type of slur that that basically hurts an individual. What are your guys' thoughts on that? My question, basically, that whole thing of canceling and like when is it too much or when is it just enough?
Can I say
Of
it?
course.
I'll say if you're being canceled, there might be a reason for it, because for thousands of people to dislike what you've said, like you said, Sammy, right? If somebody says the N-word, that's not something that should be taken lightly. Like that's bad, right? But it has gotten far, right? There is some people that should get canceled. And by that I mean they should not be on social media because like they have a presence, they're affecting people, even if it's with words, that still affects some people. There's people that look up to them, right? And if they're doing just like nasty stuff, they shouldn't be able to have that power, right? But it's gotten to a point that people are getting harassed on the streets, right? For something that they did like years ago, right? And that's far. That's far because like if you did something years ago, right? And you changed, that shouldn't like you shouldn't be getting harassed in person. You know what I mean? Or like you're a different person.
For sure. Yeah.
It connects to what you were saying before we move to this question about how everyone can change and everyone can evolve. And I also think that talking about cancel culture is very loaded in many different directions because there is a line between, yes, hold people accountable for their actions And holding people accountable for their actions is not the same as harassing them, is not the same as you do not deserve to ever speak publicly again. You know what I mean? Especially if they apologize, learn, recognize their actions. But I think that, you know, in the spirit of free speech, we can't be policing people. And I think that it's also dangerous that, like, people, I think, especially in terms of social media, get scared to be on the wrong side of something and don't feel comfortable just, like, taking a seat and something that they don't either, like, isn't affecting them or they don't really know much about. They're just like, well, everyone is saying that this person did something terrible, so now I have to say they did something terrible. And then suddenly it's like this massive crusade over something that may have not been a big deal in the first place, or like it was a big deal, but like, you know, it could have just been moved on from, and like the person could have apologized. And also, I think that the specific wording of cancel culture has been adopted by very alternative political groups who then use it to like say, like, to basically anytime they are being held accountable, say like, oh, you're just canceling me. And I think it's like, we as a society need to do better to hold people accountable and do so in a way that is not overboard and a way that is not policing, so that then we can continue to hold people accountable.
For sure. I mean, adding on to Briza, there's like, oh my God, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm just sick. But there are communities in the United States that are in a community where, you know, an example of that would be the N-word isn't exactly the definition of how we perceive it as an outsider versus how the community perceives it as. Do you think people in that community should be canceled for saying that word, or because of an outside perspective? Or what are you guys' like opinions on that? Because there are communities in the world where, or in the US specifically, where, you know, using the N-word is not as bad as it is if you were in another community or another town.
Well, you live to learn, you know?
Yeah.
So.
That's a good answer. Yeah, you live to learn. I think those two perspectives are really great about cancel culture. I think that, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Emmerson. So sorry.
Is that?
Yeah. You said previously like that was like canceling somebody for saying like something, but we have to mention the fact that not everybody that gets canceled is for saying something. Many people that get canceled actually get canceled because they were touching minors.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of a specific thing where if you're doing something really, really like wrong, like it's just disgusting, there is no reason for you to be able to like have a public appearance to the point that you can access like minors, you know?
Of course. Of course.
So I think there's levels. There's definitely levels, because there are some people I know. There's some celebrities that like, or beauty influencers to be more specific, that like it came out that they were like, they liked minors and like tried to get in contact with them.
James Charles.
James Charles.
I wasn't trying to name, but yeah. And they haven't been canceled, right? And they still have an appearance, and that can be dangerous because they can access those who like are in danger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
I think that's so true. I think it's kind of what I was trying to get at with holding people accountable, is that we should have ways to, you know, take someone out of the spotlight. Say, you know what, like, they are not a good person. People shouldn't be exposed to them, and therefore we are collectively going to not pay attention to them. But I think the word cancel culture is now synonymous with they are a bad person, and now we must like avenge them and we must like attack them. And that is just putting them more in the public conscience. Like, I think there's a huge difference between like, let's just like ignore them and let's attack them.
can I say another thing?
Yes, go ahead, girl.
Another thing you mentioned was the First Amendment right of free speech, right? But we also have to mention the First Amendment right is not just free speech, right? There's freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom, you know, there's many things, right? Which gives people the right to say, I'm not comfortable with this, you know? So if people just notice that you're doing something wrong, they should also be allowed to talk about it. Because just like you can use your free speech, so can the audience, you know?
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that's a really well put. Yeah, I still don't think that we should be attacking people and like continually, but I absolutely agree that, people should always be free to express their opinion to an opinion that is not right.
Yeah.
In my ideal world, would freedom of speech not cover hate speech? Yes. However, how is hate speech defined? It's defined by whatever political entity is in charge at the moment, and that terrifies me. So in that way, no, because my idea of hate speech is one thing and another group's might be something else. So I stuff like that is what makes me think that. And to bring it back to social media, it's the same thing with like media censorship, including social media. In an ideal world, I think that, there should be certain things that like your post gets taken down if you say this. However, who's deciding what those things are and who's getting censored? Because it's about who's in power to do the censoring.
Yeah, I mean, those are two very, very strong points. And I definitely see like how those two connect and how those two are disagreed. But, I think like today, reality TV stars, movie stars, celebrities, or even like music artists, like it's scary to be one, I mean, a good example of that is Sierra Ortega from Love Island, USA,
Oh, yeah.
where she said a slur towards Asian people, and she said that like 15 years ago. I mean, I'm sure like she learned now. There's not any evidence or things that people have seen that her using that word anymore. But I think that, that's scary. Like, imagine if you make that mistake in the past and then you become like a movie star. Like, I think a lot of people in this generation have said a lot of things that are posted online, immaturely. And they probably don't want to go on to those TV shows. They probably don't want to become a music artist. They probably don't want to pursue their dreams that are towards the public because they're afraid of getting canceled and ruining their reputation. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, yes, cancel culture holds people on accountability, but people are scared to do what they want to do because they're scared of people harassing them online and doing malicious things in public. And I mean, I think that's when it gets to a point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's still the same point, that we should not be harassing people no matter what you think they did, are doing. You shouldn't be harassing them. If they're doing something currently bad, then they should be held accountable. They should not have a public facing widespread platform. They should not be we should not be complicit in letting them just continue doing that. But, like you said, people change. People have the ability to change. Something that, we should always give people the ability to learn. Because the moment that we say, you don't get to learn this, you should have known this, and now you are a bad person forever because you did not know, that's really, really dangerous, because that just isolates people, and that just makes people not want to learn, because they're like, well, why would I learn? Why would I do better? Because before I was taught, you already decided what kind of person I am.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand in the performative thing, where if it's too feminine for a guy to like a feminine thing, or too masculine for a girl to like a more quote unquote masculine thing. So what are your guys's, how does social media play a role in the performative act of when it's too feminine or when it's too masculine?
Wait, could we backtrack?
Yep. Go ahead.
I agree with what Emmerson said to a point. Okay, if somebody said something again, 50 years ago, right? They probably changed, If they don't have the same, if they're not saying that they're at now, and they recognize that was wrong, right? And they moved on and were they changed as a person, there's no reason for them to get attacked.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also levels. Because if somebody caused harm to another person, and there was no justice, you don't get to live on and the person to stay there. You know, the victim to stay stuck.
Absolutely.
There has to be justice, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to something like the person that you said, I don't remember their name.
Sierra Ortega?
Yeah. If it happened 15 years ago and she has not done that same thing again, like, then that means she probably changed, right? She should probably address it, right? But again, if it's like, let's say somebody ended somebody else's life and like they got no justice, nothing, and then 50 years later it came out to light, like there you still have to be held accountable because like that person's life is like stolen. Like they don't get to live anymore. So
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's just like, which is crazy to say because I think there are so many cases of extreme stuff that are very, you know, have to do heavily with people who are very popular on the internet. But like, I feel like that's a little different in the way of like, there's a difference between like, of course, it never excuses the behavior and you should always, you know, apologize and like take accountability for your actions in the past. But there's a difference between like, this slur was used more pervasively at this time versus like go back a long time, murder was never okay.
Exactly.
So like that's not some new development.
That's what I'm like, that's where I agree with you in a way, right? Because like if they said something that's wrong and they admit that's wrong and you know they moved on and they're a changed person, like there's no reason for you to like go ahead and start harassing them. Like like that's just, you know, like that's extreme because they're not that same person. They changed, they learned and they moved on and they tried to be better.
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah, I was going to say, Avani, after listening to all these like points, what are your thoughts and opinions?
I feel like I have both of your guys' perspectives because it's like, okay, I feel like when you come onto social media and you're a creator or you're just posting videos, like I feel like regardless, you have to come into it with like a sense of responsibility. Like you can't blame anyone but yourself if you get held accountable. Like what you say is what you say. Like no one is like forcing you to say these slurs or like these offensive things. So, and if like a viewer like just stumbles across your account and your channel and they see that, okay, well maybe like she did like say this like 5 years ago, but why is it still up and why hasn't she said anything?
Exactly.
Right? It's like, from that perspective, of course, they're going to think that maybe you haven't changed. So in that sense, like you creators have like no other choice but to hold themselves accountable. But also, Emerson, I feel like what you're saying about like cancel culture, I feel like the term has been so like dumbed down in a way, right? That it's just like not being taken serious anymore, right? Like I feel like cancel culture, people are attacking other people just for the sake of attacking, right? Just to say that like, I don't like this person and here's why, and I'm not going to allow them to change, right? Like, I feel like people are attacking people or creators not wanting them to change, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's so true.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that I totally agree with your points. And I think you did a really good summary with Emmerson and Briza's points. Now, back to social media, like how the word performative, how do you guys define that? I feel like social media has had a very like distinct split line between what is feminine and what is masculine, what boys are supposed to do, what girls are supposed to do. How do you think the word and the idea of performative play a role in social media? And how do you think that affects how people interact day to day?
There's overconsumption.
That's
That's what I'll say. Like, people have gotten so comfortable with buying things that they don't need just because they want to feel like they're a certain type of aesthetic.
Hello
Right.
Kitty.
I have a lot of Hello Kitty things, but
Look at cute.
yeah, I use them though, you know? But the main thing is like, well, I understand if you want to try something because you're like, oh, like a lot of people are like skincare, for example, right? Like a lot of people say like, oh, a lot of people say this is like good for my skin, so I'm gonna try it, right? But if you like keep on buying and buying and buying, and you're just doing it like for the likes and the pictures, and you're not really using it, that's just like that's wasteful, wasteful, you know. And like people need to learn to be themselves, you know. We've gotten so lost on social media and like what's going like on other people's lives that we forget that we have our own life. you know? And this all ties in with like the whole fitting in, right? As someone who struggled a lot to fit in, right? Especially coming here, even in Mexico, I used to get bullied there. Then I came here, I got bullied again, right? You have to find this comfortability within yourself, because you can have many friends, you can have thousands and thousands of friends and likes, and you're still not gonna feel comfortable, you know? So it's taking away like performative, like all of that. It's taking away from your own life, because you're not actually living your life. You're letting other people live it for you.
Oh, I like that.
That's strong.
I mean, yeah, back to the idea of performative, I just don't get it. Like, I haven't heard it in a female way, but I've heard, like performative male, and I just don't understand, honestly. Like, it's like, I know the things that like supposedly go with it, but it's just another way to shame people. It's like we just keep creating ways to shame people. It's pretty nuts, especially for a generation that supposedly were like, yeah, like screw the gender binary, like all that. Now we're not doing that. Like what happened? Now a guy can't drink matcha? I don't even understand.
That's true.
Everyone has something to complain about, and that's like the society we live in. No one's ever happy, and social media, it plays a big role in unhappiness. Avani, what are your thoughts on that?
I was thinking of something completely different. Like,
Share.
I don't know if you guys like are aware, like you're probably aware of it, but like I feel like social media has also played a big role in creating like labels for friendships or relationships. Like, don't even get me started when you go on Instagram and you're scrolling through the reels, or you just hear it like out in daily public, right? Like stuff about like situationships or like the talking stage. It's like I feel like that in itself is so performative. Like I feel like healthy like friendships and relationships are like so hard to like have at this point. Like it's possible, right? But I feel like as a society, or like our new generation is very stuck on like these labels, right? And it's like you're having these friendships because you want to say you have that label, like, oh, I'm in a talking stage, or like,
What does that mean?
It's
you
the
know?
pre-stage before you're officially dating someone. So that's what you call the talking
Like
stage.
getting to meet someone.
I know. But what do you
It
call
is.
that though? If it's not the talking
Nothing.
stage, it's just
Call
a
it.
stage.
There's this person I
Friends.
like hanging out. I don't know. Why are
like,
you gonna call it anything?
No.
Well, I mean, like, in a way, if you think about it, though, like, people are trying to, like, explain themselves. And if it helps people, like, explain their situation and stuff like that, like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on the scenario, because there's people that are, like, trying to explain what they're saying and they're not really good at explaining it. So if that helps them,
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're right. Keep on.
That's all I had to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think that it's amazing that people are able to like that there are so many different like just labels for everything now, but also we have to remember that like I feel like in an attempt to get out of the like binary boxes, we've just made more boxes, and it's like we can just not go in a box. It's okay. Just because there's many more boxes doesn't mean that you're not still in a box. You know what I mean?
No, I get
Like,
that.
and kind of what you were saying about just like, it's almost like, I don't know, having a talking stage. It's like suddenly you're like checking a box where it's like, what happened to just like, there's this person, I think like we've been hanging out. I think like we might have a thing. I'm not sure yet, but I'm excited about it. Like, where did that go? Now we have like, I have a talking stage, check. Like,
No, I completely agree. And I think that like, have you seen those videos where it's just like, how do you know if a boy likes you?
Yes.
3 ways to tell if a girl likes you. They're all BS. Like, it's just complete BS because number one, that's very like, I feel like liking someone's like subjective. Like, it's very like, it's a personal thing. It's an opinion thing. So you can't really like make it into one box. And I think that also like affects how we interact with people. Like when you're like, oh, this guy likes me because A, B, C, D. Like, no, no, babes, I hate to tell you, no. Like, it's just, that's just not how it works. And I think that's like really sad because like when I was younger, that's how I did it too. Like I was a victim of it. I was a victim of 3 ways to tell if a guy likes you. Right? And it's just, it's toxic in a way. Like it's really toxic because then like I feel like going back, it also affects like how you physically feel about yourself and like how you feel like your image about yourself, because if you don't quote unquote act a certain way, then a guy doesn't like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like validation at this age is at this like development age is so important. Like everyone wants validation. So I think that's like,
Sure.
you know, such a big thing. But I mean, yeah, like I said, it's like performative. I think it's just a little bit too broad. Like you can like matcha if you're a guy. That's okay. But do you think like also like performative, like do you think people like act differently online, and in what way, and like how so too?
I mean, absolutely. I don't think it's possible to accurately portray like what's going on in your life online. I forget who said it, that just like, you know, people are only posting what they want to share. And then even then it's like they're posting their best parts of their lives plus like I'm going to arrange this in this way and buy this so it looks like like plus filters and fake and whatever. And honestly, I don't know how else it should be, because like when Be Real was a really big thing, I was being driven crazy just by the concept. Why do I want to see you eating cereal? Like, I don't understand that either. And, you know, theoretically, like, that's really cool. But also, so I don't know. I don't know what social media should be, really.
Yeah, Briza, I see over there. Like you have some thoughts going on. Tell me.
I record myself a lot. Yeah. I like send my friends just random videos of me eating Takis with ice. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but what I'll say, social media is supposed to be many things, right? At least that's what, from my understanding, it's not supposed to be one thing. It's supposed to be like whatever you want, right? It's up to like creation. Like you can post whatever you want. You know, you can post, if you like art, you can post about art. If you like music, you can post about music.
Yeah.
If you like mukbanking, you can post about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be something that serious. You know, that's what I like about it personally. That you can just post. You can post yourself dancing if you want. You can post yourself singing. Like, it's just it's supposed to be a way to connect people.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's become a way to shame people, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's supposed to just be social media. Like, you just, like, it's supposed to just be many things where you can do many things. You can show off whatever you want to show off, and you can keep with the security that you can still keep your life private, you know? Because you don't have to show the bad parts of your life if you don't want to, because not everybody's comfortable with that. You know, that's okay. But yeah, like I said, it's starting to become shameful.
Okay.
I love the idea
yeah.
that it's supposed to be like a communal open space.
Yeah. Avani?
I feel like, okay, with these two like interpretations, right? This like reminds me of how it's like hard for me to tell when like people are being performative or not, because there are genuine people who are just posting random pictures of cereal because like they're trying to like you know, like they're trying to fake being quirky or something. And then but there's like some people who are legitimately, they're just like eating Takis because like they want to. It's like whatever, right? Like when I see someone post like a song on their notes, I'm like, are they doing this because they want to like impress somebody? Like, are these lyrics trying to like allude to like a situationship they have, or are they posting the song because like they legitimately like it, like they're a big fan? So I feel like because social media is so many different things, right? It's like hard. It's kind of hard for me to navigate it sometimes. I don't know.
No.
Very relatable.
Yeah. And like throughout this like podcast, I've seen like the yes and the no switch it too. And I've seen Avani, you've always stayed very neutral about the opinions that you shared, which I appreciate. But I love your guys' opinions. I feel like it created really nice debates. Overall, I feel like we did a really good deep dive into social media, brain rot, you know, all the issues that it has on the physical person and etc. All these different things. And I think that really shows how like intelligent we are in such like a big thing that, you know, has revolved our lives, have shaped everything. Anyways, we're going to end this podcast. Thank you for tuning into Tay Radio, where we deep dive into story, culture, and community. If you like today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. You can follow us on social media at Tay Radio Marin for updates and more ways to stay connected. Listen to us on Spotify, and you can also watch full episodes on YouTube at Tay Radio Marin. For more resources to get involved, visit our website at the Multicultural Center of Marin. See you in the next episode. Bye.